All right, on today's episode on the law and the people, I want to talk about something that's trending but also deeply legal. That is when love meets law. What can we learn from the Ned Nwoko and Regina Daniels crisis? Now, this is not just celebrity gossip. It's a case that brings up important questions about marriage, domestic violence, defamation, privacy, and the limits of social media exposure. Now, considering the Nigerian legal framework, I believe it's crucial we see beyond headlines and understand what the law actually say about situations like this. So a quick background for those of you that may not be following the story closely. Ned Nwoko, a senator and a businessman, married a Nollywood actress, Regina Daniels, back in 2019. Their marriage was widely discussed because of the large age gap and the fact that Ned is a polygamous man. Recently, however, a video went viral showing Regina Daniels crying and saying she could no longer endure violence in her marriage. In response, Ned Nwoko denied being violent. Instead, he accused and imputed on Regina Daniels to be a drug addict and that she was dealing on drugs, in quotes, drug abuse, and said she was the one behaving violently. Then Regina reportedly got her own house in Lagos and said, "In my house, I am a queen." Now, that's when people started asking, is this the beginning of a legal separation? And most importantly, what does the Nigerian law say about all of this? Having underscored the above, which was well refined and brilliantly stated, I've intelligibly distilled some main legal issues that will be brought before us for determination. And these issues would be discussed one after the other. Number one is the case of, or the issue of domestic violence. First, let's talk about domestic violence. Under the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act of 2015, that is the VAP Act, domestic violence is not just about physical violence or physical abuse. It also covers emotional, psychological, and even verbal abuse. So if Regina's claims are true, Ned could face legal consequences. That is, if Regina's claims are true, allegedly, Ned Nwoko could face legal consequences, including possible arrest, protection orders, or even imprisonment. But if, on the other hand, if Ned's side of the story is true and or factual, that Regina is violent or destructive, she could also be liable under the same law. The point is that the VAP Act protects both spouses, regardless of gender or social status. This is to say that by virtue of being wealthy, someone cannot hide under the shield of wealth not to be prosecuted or not to be brought before the law under the VAP Act of 2015. The next issue here for determination is defamation and reputation. When you go online to accuse someone of being violent or addicted to drugs and it turns out to be false, that's defamation completely. It can be criminal or civil, and it is covered under Section 373 to Section 381 of the Criminal Code. In this case, both parties have made demeaning and damaging statements publicly. So whichever side is proven wrong could actually face a defamation suit or tarnishing the other's reputation. That's how far the law goes to protect a person's image. Now, issue 3, we are going to talk on, or we'll be discussing the issue of privacy and media exposure. Now, let's talk about privacy. Section 37 of our 1999 Constitution gives everyone, even public figures, the right to privacy of family life and correspondence. So those viral videos from their home, if they were recorded or shared without consent, that is a violation of privacy and possibly a breach under the Cyber Crimes Act 2015. This is a big lesson to all of us. Just because something happens in private doesn't mean the internet should see it. The law protects and jealously protects that boundary. This is how far the issue of privacy comes to play. Now, finally, the issue of divorce and custody. If these disputes leads to formal separation, as in cases of divorce, the Matrimonial Causes Act of 1970 will apply. Under Section 15, subsection 2C of the Matrimonial Causes Act, a marriage can be dissolved if one spouse behaves in such a way that the other can't reasonably live with them. Custody of their children will be decided based on the interest, that is, based on the best interest of the child. This principle received unadulterated pontification of law, and it was cloaked in the garment of authority in the locus classicus case of Williams versus Williams, where the court wherein stated that in all matters concerning the child, the best interest of the child should be the paramount consideration. So, if violence or substance abuse is proven, it will play a huge role in who gets the custody of the children. Now, let us quickly look at the ethical and social angle of this whole brouhaha. As a public officer, Ned Nwoko's conduct is also under the Code of Conduct for Public Officers, even though this is a private matter. Confirmed acts of violence or misconduct could raise ethical concerns about his public image. And on a broader level, this entire situation reminds us that no one, absolutely no one, not even celebrities, not even politicians, not even footballers, is above the law. The law is a respecter of nobody. This is encapsulated in the Latin maxim, dura lex seles. The law is harsh, but it is the law. Marriage may be private, but when rights are violated, the law steps in to ameliorate the harshness, the rigidity occasioned or orchestrated by the said act perpetrated in that marriage. So, where does the law stand in all of this? One may ask. The law stands firmly in the middle, protecting victims, preserving reputations, and maintaining justice. Love can fail, emotions can run high, but the law must always be the balance between affection and accountability. And that's why I say, when love meets the law, the truth must stand alone. Thank you so much for listening on today's episode on the law and the people. Remember, this is Tuzie Richard Chikadibia, where law meets life. See you on the next episode.